Heroes come in all shapes and sizes, with some of said shapes being far more prominent than other shapes, for obvious reasons. But there's a small group of heroes that has proven that true heroism has no set BMI range. These heroes might not look like the pinnacle of bravery, or even look like they can walk up some stairs without having to stop and catch their breath on the third step. But when the chips are down and villains appear, these heroes will stand on the front line beside the rest and fight along with them. Of these individuals, there are a few that act as both shield and spear. Sure, some know Kung Fu or are able to transform into an overpowered sun-wielding knight, but there's only one that's an equal part offense and defense. The pro hero Fatgum from the world of My Hero Academia. And let me just say, for this hero, there's nothing more satisfying than the taste of justice.
My fist hungers for justice. That was my fist.
Hello Internet, Jojo here, and welcome to Ideashock, where I seem to have some kind of obsession with My Hero Academia. Don't know where it came from, but like all obsessions, I've heard it's best to dive headfirst into it. What's that? That's not a healthy thing to do. Oops, then I might have an unhealthy amount of My Hero Academia videos in the works. Anyways, can't do anything about that now. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and tomatoes of calculating the power of Fatgum's, calculating the power of Fatgum's fat, I guess. One of the best parts of My Hero Academia Season 4 was when the pro hero Fatgum and Kirishima went up against the villain Rappa. Throughout the fight, Rappa seemed to have the advantage in terms of raw power, but luckily, as a last-ditch effort, Fatgum used a previously unknown ability. This ability allows him to absorb and store energy from his opponent's attacks, and then launch it all at them in one shot. Fatgum does this at the cost of his fat, so as long as the energy he stores does not exceed what he can hold in his fat, he's fine. All in all, it's actually a really cool quirk. But if you don't agree with me, I think that we can at least agree that it's better than the ability to control road markings. Minor spoilers. I'm talking about a minor villain that shows up much later in the series.
A spear and a shield. The victory is ours.
Now, this entire encounter is incredibly interesting and surprisingly technical to calculate. This means that we have to find Kirishima's durability, the number of punches that were thrown, and... That does not sound very fun to me because I always do things like this. What does tickle my brain cells is calculating the power if Fatgum started from 0% absorption, or his base energy output. Because Fatgum's power is directly related to how much fat he has on him, to find his base energy output, the first thing we need to know is Fatgum's physical makeup. Basically, it's how much he weighs. Now, the wiki says that while in his fat form, he stands at 8'2", but that doesn't make any sense at all, because in this panel, we find that comparing him to Kirishima, Fatgum has to be over 11 feet tall while in this form, or Kirishima has somehow shrunk. Like, a lot. Like, he's shorter than Edward Elric, kinda short.
What was that? You brat! Say it again! Once more! I'll send you flying! Hear me? Your little body will go straight out into space!
That's true too! You hate being called small, just like everyone says!
So, right from the start, we're already breaking manga canon. But, more on that later. Unfortunately, we don't know Fatgum's canon weight while fat. Instead, we can treat him as a perfect ellipsoid and calculate it out from there. Using his height of 11 feet, and Fatgum ends up being about 6.44 feet wide. Which actually means that he's wider than most people are tall. The sheer absurdity of anime, it's fantastic. But you already know what I think about that. Anyways, with those numbers, we can find that Fatgum has an internal volume of about 60 cubic feet. However, the thing is, we can't just assume that's all fat because, you know, human biology, muscles, bone, organ, that's kind of important stuff. Taking a look at Fatgum, or to what I refer to as Small Gum from now on, and comparing him to Bubble Girl, who is 167 centimeters tall, we find that Small Gum is about 250 centimeters, or 8'2". I guess we didn't have to throw away any canon of the story. That's nice. So, someone of this height and his age should have an ideal weight of 300 pounds. We know that it's his ideal weight that we're talking about because he literally just burned all his fat off. muscle has a density of about 2.3 pounds per liter. Assuming that Smallgum's volume is mostly muscle and organs, we find that he has a total volume of 130 liters, or about 34.4 gallons. It's kind of weird to talk about human flesh in the same way that one talks about food. Fat, on the other hand, is a good bit lighter than muscle, only 1.98 pounds per liter. As we stated before, Fatgum has a volume of 60 cubic feet, which translates to about 1,670 liters of volume, or about 3,347.7 pounds. Removing the mass of muscle, and we find that Fatgum's attack burns about 3,000 pounds almost instantaneously. With all this out of the way, we can now move directly on to energy produced. According to Mayo Clinic, 1 pound of fat is worth 3,500 calories, meaning that to burn 1 pound of it would require 14,644,000 joules of energy. For Fatgum to burn over 3,000 pounds of fat, he had to have produced over 44,600,000,000 joules of energy, or about 10.5 tons of TNT, and put it all behind a single strike. This is the equivalent energy required to vaporize 14 average-sized people. Well, I guess that's actually what he did just do, essentially. Guys, you know that I've measured a lot of feats and abilities on this channel, but this might be one of the weirdest of them all. So, if you like the weird and want to see more of it, then you probably should subscribe. I do a lot of weirdness on this channel. Guys, just so you know, the main part of this video was actually supposed to be in a different video, but I didn't quite like how that video turned out, so I decided to cut this feat out and turn it into its own shorter video. Of course, this is not the only feat that I pulled from that video. That would be a waste of calculations, and a waste of the time I spent editing it. I just wanted to let you know that because, well, there's really no reason not to tell you that. So, with that said guys, thanks for watching, see you next time, remember to stay spectacular. Jojo,